This morning, the top riders in the 450 class arrived at Fox Raceway to size up the competition for the 2022 title. And in the first of 24 bar-to-bar battles, Ken Roczen was able to grab the early lead in his Honda, and then it was literally bar-to-bar with him and his teammate, Chase Sexton. Sexton was eventually able to make the move and go on to win the Moto with Roczen in second. But that's just half of the racing today. Who will reign supreme at the end of the season opener? It's time to find out. 450 Moto 2 is next. It's the opening round of the 2022 Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship, sanctioned by AMA Pro Racing, the Honda Fox Raceway National. Hello, everyone, and welcome to sunny Southern California. Jason Wygant alongside the 7-time AMA National Motocross Champion, Rick Johnson, and also the King of Supercross, Jeremy McGrath, as we celebrate 50 years of history in this series. We'll go back a little over an hour ago to our first 450 Moto of the day. As mentioned, Roczen gets the whole shot, but he had competition, RJ.
Kenny Roczen, here we see McElrath giving him a little bit of fight, but then Kenny took off. He put the afterburners on and walked away from everybody, but it didn't stay that way. We see Eli Tomac as well there, but eventually some problems with Eli.
Yeah, he was only strong for the first few minutes of the Moto. Tomac, 3-time champ in this series, carrying a knee injury, drifted back. It was Chase Sexton to take the challenge to Roczen. Kind of surprising to see contact between the Honda teammates. Sexton overjumps that, but uses it to get the lead.
Big-time tank slapper down the hill there, but didn't give up. Kept the momentum. He knew he had Kenny in his sights, had the speed, takes the lead. And, you know, I was pretty surprised. I thought he would pull away, but Ken kept him really honest.
And then Tomac, unfortunately, it starts to come unravel for him here. And enter Ryan Dungey, the multi-time champion who's been retired since 2017. In his first race back, he takes third place away from the ailing Tomac here. But it would not be over. Dungey customary for the podium spots. But another Yamaha rider, Christian Craig, was there to challenge him for third.
Christian Craig fell down, worked his way back up, and here you see that starts to work his way around Ryan Dungey. And what I loved is Dungey's very aware of his surroundings as we're watching Sexton as he brings to the finish. But Dungey's showing a lot of respect to these guys, not just coming out here trying to hammer on them.
Yeah, he let him go there at the end, and Sexton takes the easy first Moto win, with his teammate Roczen right behind him. Now, Honda went 1-2 in both 250 Motos earlier today. They went 1-2 in this first 450 Moto. Can they complete the sweep here in the last race of the day? But Craig third. And Jason Anderson, who was buried off the start, put in some very fast lap times down the stretch to overhaul Dungey and get to the number 4 spot. Dungey's return, top 5, that's spectacular. Plessinger, Tomac, Barsha, Marchbanks, and Tony Crowley in his first national race in the U.S. The 9-time world champion finishes up in the top 10. Fans definitely happy to see the very friendly Italian here at the races. So we didn't know exactly what to expect from Crowley, who is a part-time racer in his definition these days, but definitely fun to see him out here. Let's get to know the 9-time world champion from Italy.
Now I'm retired, of course, and you know, from the World Championship, and I had some time off of the bike, and then I say, okay, I think it's a good chance. I'm still, you know, in okay shape, you know, to race, and maybe it's a good chance, you know, to make a few races here. At the moment, the plan is the first 2 rounds, as everybody knows. Of course, I was a little bit out with you know, my mind after so many years, you know, focused for so long in the season, and then I don't want to have anymore, you know, the stress of the World Championship or any championship, you know, for long. Yeah, for me, it's everything is new. Like I said, I never raced here in Pala. I mean, we did a press day a couple of days ago, and this was my first time. So I really like the track. It's very nice and wide, and you have quite some line choice, so it's going to be interesting. Okay, if I'm the top 5, I will be super happy, considering you know, that I'm not prepared for such you know, a long models anymore. But as I do when I race GPs, when I prepare all the winter for racing. But anyway, I'm still enjoying a lot, and we will see what happens.
Great to have one of the all-time legends of this game try his hand at American racing before he's officially retired. Again, 10th in Moto number 1, and definitely having a good time out there. We'll see how much he learned from that and how much he can apply to our second 30-minute and 2-lap Moto, which will be coming your way after this. It is 450 Moto 2, and we are ready for it. Stay with us here from Fox Raceway in California. Round 1 is not over yet.
50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive. General Tire, anywhere is possible. And by Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance.
We're back here at Fox Raceway at Pala, about an hour outside of San Diego. We'll give you the tour of this facility. MX versus ATV Legends brings you our track map here, and we'll give you a view from high atop Fox Raceway.
And this tells this whole story. You look at those light spots, that's where it's getting hard and slick. Now they prep the track, meaning they watered it a little bit, but those hard spots get really slick. As you can see up in the upper left-hand corner, you got to make it through the hard right, hard left, hard right. Then Jeremy, a lot of big jumps on this track.
Yeah, big jumps out there. Lots of technicality when it comes to this second moto, because now you got the big jumps, but you also got the big choppy bumps and braking bumps. We saw some big tank slappers from the guys in Moto 1. What are we going to see in Moto 2? We're going to deal with the water in the beginning of the moto, which is another part that's going to be pretty tricky. So it's going to be an exciting first few laps. We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll get a little more track analysis. We'll send it down to the racetrack with Jason Thomas. What do you see?
Guys, everybody coming into this series has been talking about intensity, getting the pace up. I think today, though, in the second moto, patience is going to win out. You're going to have to work with the track and not really try to force it into submission. It's too dusty, it's too hard, and the bumps are getting too square-edged to really ride it like that. So who can be patient, who can find the flow in the second moto is probably going to come out on top.
Thanks, JT. KTM keys to the moto. One more set of tips. Jeremy?
Well, I think Jason has a great point there. You know, you can't override this track. It can happen real easy, and especially in the beginning of these motos, you have to push, but there's a fine line.
Well, keep the momentum there. Go ahead.
And also to tag on with JT, that line selection, you got to start searching for new ways around. Ricky Carmichael was the king of that. Sometimes in Moto 2, straight down the inside turn, straight up the inside on the exit. So line selection is going to be key.
Fly Racing 30-second card is up. The mechanics move away. The focus drops down to the gate. We're ready for 450 Moto 2. Hang on. Dungey's on the inside. He's getting it edged out. Chase Sexton, your first Moto winner, to the lead. And Ken Roczen battling Dungey for second. A good start for Tony Crowley as well. Anderson's down. Several riders now piling in behind him in turn one. So Anderson had a bad start in Moto 1. Looked good early in Moto 2. He's down in the dirt. And now it's still Brandon Hartraft getting up from that first turn crash. We saw Roczen trying to overhaul Dungey for second, and he did it.
Well, and look at how aggressive Roczen is in these opening laps. So I'm curious, and we don't know this, what changes he might have made to his suspension, but we do know that Ken Roczen is always blistering fast the first 5 laps of every moto. Jeremy?
I mean, this is incredible. Look at the Hondas 1-2, but Dungey in third. I mean, what a great start. The guy hasn't raced in 5 years. The guy is on it. So cool.
All right. So maybe we'll get Jeremy to come back.
Absolutely not.
I'm out of the picture, but I think we can talk MC back into it.
You come back, I come back. All right.
Craig is there to challenge Crowley, who has a good start as well. So we'll see what the 2-2-2 can do with a better start here in Moto 2. The legend coming out of the MXGP World Championship scene, the 9-time champ. And this is really a treat for these fans to be able to get to see and watch him ride in person. I don't know what's the bigger story here, Dungey with a good start or Crowley with a good start. Craig, he's got to block all that out and go after these guys right now, because Craig was on the podium in Moto 1. He wants a podium in Moto 2.
Whoa.
Sexton almost throws it away. Here's Roczen's opportunity.
And that's exactly what Jeremy's talking about. You see the shiny spots out there, and with that water, it's making the track very, very sketchy right now. And we see Chase Sexton losing the front wheel. And he says he's not, where he comes from is Illinois, he's not really comfortable with that hard pack, as we see Ken Roczen looking for that lead.
Oh, can he get to the inside? Sexton will try to edge him off. Didn't have enough room. Ken Roczen to the number 1 spot.
See, for me, guys, this does not create a problem for Chase Sexton. The track's going to come in the next 10 minutes here. It's going to be good. Sexton, we know, has the speed. If I was him, I would just not even be worried or fazed by this.
I agree with you, Jeremy, that I would sit back and wait for everybody to go around, because right now everybody on the parade lap is missing the water. They're going around it, but now in the race, when you have 40 guys on the track, they have to take those lines. So how this track is going to mature as far as pushing that slick dirt out of the way is going to get better every lap.
I don't care how many times we have seen Ken Roczen be absolutely incredible in the opening laps of the motos. It's still amazing to see. He is checking out But even on his bad days, he's good early in the motos. We're going to see the test a little bit later on if he can hang on. But so far, so good for the 94. And how about Dungey? He's ready to challenge them.
Yeah, and when I talked to Carlos's mechanic about that, he says, no, he's like an elephant. He's like a tractor. He just keeps going. So we know that Dungey's fitness is great. His style is impeccable. And so he's right in the mix for actually to be on the podium.
To see an athlete, and this is as difficult as it gets, this sport, be gone for 5 years and jump right back up. I mean, there's not a very big drop-off from where he was when he left. This is unreal. Now, Craig has made the move on Crowley. He's in 4th. He was able to get around Dungey in Moto 1, so we could be looking at a rematch there as you see Craig in the number 4 spot. But Dungey's got to be inspired, and I'll tell you, the more Dungey does this, the fans are going to start cheering as well, and that's going to help.
Well, and as he talked about, he's not contracted to do the whole season. When I talked to Ian Harrison, Ian said it was the easiest contract negotiation he's ever done. He sent Ryan a contract, and within like 5 minutes, it was returned and signed. He said, no problem. we're not going through everything.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to see Dungey from more than 2 races with a performance like this on the books. How about Christian Craig? He's got to carry the fort here for this monster Yamaha Star Racing team. It was a struggle for Tomac in Moto 1. Dylan Ferrandis, the defending champ, is out with a thumb injury that he suffered about 5 days ago. But Craig putting it on the podium in the first moto, and he wants that spot again. This is looking like a rematch and a good one.
Well, and Eli Tomac, we don't know what the problem was in the first moto. You know, we were talking off the air, is that Eli was saying in Supercross, I think he talked to Jeremy, said he gets about 10 minutes, and then with the knee injury, he can't hang on. But he was telling Jeremy that he did feel good. So maybe that's flaring back, or maybe he stuffed it in. What's your opinion, Jeremy?
Well, I was surprised by the drop-off in Moto 1 by Eli. He looked really good in the beginning of the moto. I did have a good conversation with him. You know, Eli and I were close at Kawasaki there when he was there, and you know, I would figure, like, I wouldn't figure that he'd be pulling any tricks on me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I figured he'd be good, and then we saw a little drop off there. So who knows what happened? Maybe he's taking care of that knee, or maybe, you know, maybe this is the plan. Maybe it's like, hey, take it slow, let it continue to heal, and he'll gain some speed like he knows he can. He knows he has these guys' speed, so that's not a problem.
One other theory I want to throw out there, you know, there were 3 weeks that he basically had between Supercross and this because he took the final race of Supercross off. There's no test quite like actually going out there and raced it. So maybe he felt good at home and thought it was all good, but it's different when you're out here.
Well, and how many times, there's a gazillion times that he could have dabbed it a little off to the left, right? Because these guys are losing the front wheel all the time as we watch Crowley and him go by. You know, so here we see Eli trying to work his way up. So whatever he had going on in the first moto, he looks fine now.
Yeah, he's good early here in Moto 2. So this is a fun battle. This is the type of crazy scenarios we wanted to see. Antonio Crowley versus Eli Tomac. I don't think we expected to see that this year, but it's been fun to watch. Send it down to Jason Thomas with more on Tomac.
Eli Tomac's mechanic, he's in a battle with Tony Crowley at the moment. Kind of a tough first moto, move backwards a little bit. I know you guys made some bike changes, but what's the goal for second moto?
Just to move forward second moto. I mean, first moto we struggled a little bit, kind of went backwards, but as of right now, it's looking a little better and focusing forward.
All right, that's Josh Ellington, the mechanic. Was with Justin Cooper last year. Got a Supercross championship in the Premier Division, a 450 class with Tomac this year. And Crowley's fighting back.
Right, but I want you to focus, watch Tomac. Anytime, so if you're a fan, watch this. Keep an eye on Eli Tomac's feet. He has evolved the sport with his father, John Tomac. We talked about it. As he goes to the corner, there he took his foot off. But a lot of times you'll see him keep both feet on the pegs as he goes around the corner. He does it very well in Supercross. I talked to John. He said it started out as drills when he was younger. But then when I talked to Eli, it says when he got on the bigger bikes, he felt more comfortable. But the key to that style is the balance of the bike. You see both feet on the pegs right there. And Eli is the first one to perfect this, Jeremy. I don't know if you did it much. I mean, I did it on some sweepers and things like that, but not on tight-rutted corners. But to finish my thought, it's the balance of the bike. If you have it too soft in the front, it tucks the front and you want to go down. If you have it too soft in the back, it makes it want to push, and then you end up dabbing. So any chance you get a chance, watch Eli Tomac, and he does not, even if he does take his foot off, he doesn't take it way off and put it way out there.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's one of the last people that'll take that foot off only at the very last second. Now, we mentioned Tony Crowley, saw the feature earlier, the 9-time champ from Europe, told us he's not in his prime anymore. Now, last year he was in the hunt for that MXGP World title again, but he's really turned into a development rider for KTM now, and that leads to a lot of riding where you do a lap or two and then pull in to work on the motorcycle. Had not done a lot of the 30-minute training motos leading into this event. Definitely better so far here in Moto 2 than Moto 1. But we were all trying to figure, was he just lowering the expectations, or was he just telling us the truth, that he wasn't in quite race shape anymore? I guess we'll know by the end of this Moto where he stands. It's still really fun to have him out here. A lot of fans have watched him on TV, saw pictures, but never got to watch him ride in person. McElrath is 7th. And a shout out to Josh Gilbert out of the UK, who is fast in practice and hovering around the top 10 all day. 9th right now, just got passed by Aaron Plessinger. Benny Bloss rounding out the top 10, battling it out with Garrett Marchbanks, who's on the Club MX Yamaha, Bloss on the BBMX KTM. So there is Crowley. We'll give you the track courtesy of our GoPro course preview. This is from Justin Barcia's camera earlier today, Moto 1. There's that intensity in the first turn.
Barcia getting closed out pretty hard in turn 1 there.
Oh, it's
This is what happens when you get a bad start. It's not fun.
Yeah, Barcia has been mired in traffic today. He's in 14th right now early in Moto 2. Good stuff from Justin Barcia. We'll be back. Ken Roczen leads here in California. Roczen continuing to hold the lead. It's only 1.8 seconds over Sexton. Craig and Dungey, they've been battling all day long, and they picked it up again here in Moto number 2.
Well, the two riders out front, Kenny Roczen with a 2:18.7 and Chase Sexton with a 2:18.6. So those two riders going back and forth. And now you step back to Ryan Dungey at 2:21, as well as Christian Craig at 2:21. So the two guys in front have, you know, over a 3-second per lap, they're pulling this away. So those two guys are in a class of their own right now.
Yeah, still impressive for Dungey being running in a podium spot, but Craig, he's going to block out the good story and say, I'm here to ruin that and take the podium away from Dungey. We'll see if he can do it. And Craig, whoa! Welcome back, Ryan Dungey.
He's had one of those before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I'm impressed by is just look how clean he looks. He just looks like he's making it, you know, he's not fighting the bike. He's just riding real smooth. And obviously a great start helps, but man, he doesn't look out of shape other than that little air there. But I mean, he just looks great out there.
Well, and he's not lost his fitness. He looks fantastic. Looks probably wears the same size jeans as he did when he left motocross and supercross. So great for him. I mean, this doesn't happen because a lot of times, you know, like riders like myself, you leave because you have to. You get injured out and you have to quit. But Ryan Dungey, first class all the way.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance. Motosport.com. Make your next ride your best ride. And by Monster Energy. Unleash the beast.
This is round 1 of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Round 2 coming your way on MAV TV next Saturday, June 4th, 1 o'clock Pacific or 4 o'clock Eastern. That'll be Hangtown outside of Sacramento, California. Another legendary stop on this circuit. But who will go into that race as the series leader? It could be down to the Honda boys. Ken Roczen leading the way, but Chase Sexton is not fading away. 1.9 seconds. It has been an exchange of lap times. It's down to a few tenths here and there between Roczen and Sexton. You get the feeling that there'll be a battle between them for the win before this one is over. We go back to 3rd place. What a story. Ryan Dungey shocking the industry when he announced he's coming out of retirement. And he has not raced for 5 years, and he's in a podium position right now. Let's send it down to Jason Thomas with the man, Roger Decoster, who runs KTM's racing program.
Guys, down here with Roger Decoster. Roger, this is one of the most unorthodox teams I've ever seen put together, but you're getting results. This is an incredible effort when, you lost Cooper Webb and you guys are scrambling to put it together. Look what you get done here.
Yeah, what Dungey is doing is pretty impressive. It's 6 years since he raced outdoors, and he's battling right now. He's in podium position. I would be happy with top 5, and then Crowley retired at the end of last year, and he's 37 years old, and he's doing pretty good too. But yeah, it's nice, but you need to do better.
Classic Roger Decoster, never satisfied. Now, let me tell you, we are celebrating the 50th anniversary of this series. 50 years ago, he was already an inspiration to American riders, Roger Decoster, as one of the great Europeans who came to the U.S. to kind of show Americans what motocross is all about, an inspiration to many. And the desire to win never goes away.
Well, and I was talking to Ian Harrison. I said, where's Roger? He says he's at KTM. He's shaving some head. He's constantly tinkering on the bikes, and he'll stay there till late at night. He'll call his wife Karna and say, oh, so-and-so's keeping me here a little later, this and that. And he'll come into the meeting rooms with aluminum shavings in his hair and stuff like that. But Roger, I had the blessing of working with Roger and Dave Arnold when I was at Team Honda, and just when I would come off the track, imagine them trying to balance David Bailey, Johnny O'Mara, and myself, and they were able to make all of us feel special. And they work for us unconditionally, and that is why they call him the man. I mean, I love working for him. I love working with him, and you can see he's still basically busting Crowley's balls. He needs to do better.
Yeah, exactly. They want more, but unfortunately, it might get worse because Christian Craig will not let Ryan Dungey go. Craig is super determined to show the world what he can do on a 450. We're halfway through this moto, 15 minutes down, 15 minutes to go. You can save 15% or more on your insurance, and Dungey's going to have to fight through this final 15 minutes because Craig is on the gas.
Well, Christian Craig, and he was in the same boat early, the race before, and he was able to pull it off. Christian Craig, another one of those riders for Toyota of Escondido, who, once again, supports the whole Star Yamaha team. But Christian Craig can make up a little ground, but as Carlos said, I think that Dungey's like a tractor. He just doesn't make a mistake. So that makes it really hard for Christian Craig to make a move.
Well, I nicknamed him the Diesel a few years ago, and there's a reason for it. I mean, look at the guy. You're right. He's just like a tractor. Christian Craig is seeing those results right in front of him. But I have to say, this is a pretty amazing result and ride for two guys that are pretty much retired. I mean, Dungey's been retired for 5 years. Crowley's retired. I mean, this is epic ride for these guys.
Oh, epic ride for Chase Sexton. Just like that, he has caught Ken Roczen. Took it down from 1.4 seconds to 0 now.
Wait a minute, Jason, are we watching the first moto?
It darn looks like it, absolutely. What can Roczen do this time? Roczen said he struggled a little bit with the flow in Moto 1. He was hoping to be a little looser in Moto 2. He's going to need to be.
He was also said that he was having a hard time with lappers, and this is not a lapper situation. They've passed a couple guys that really have had a bad day, but right now, this is just Sexton, I think, coming into it. And I want to tell everybody again that Sexton is on a different shock. It's called a BFRC shock. It's the same shock that the past world champion Tim Geiser runs over in Europe. So that style is a little bit different. That shock has all the valving done in the shock body and not in the reservoir, like with the one that Ken Roczen is running. Both unbelievably technology, which is out of this world, but Sexton on a slightly different shock.
Yeah, so if it's not identical motorcycles, they give them a menu to pick from, and Roczen and Sexton have different riding styles, hence different setups of the motorcycle, and it's working out about the same as they are side by side into this right-hander. Sexton taking another shot at his teammate.
One of the things Ken Roczen does so well, and we see it so often, is once he gets that bike turned, he points it and shoots, and he gets a lot of burst off the corners. So if we're going to see this pass from Chase Sexton, it's going to have to be like a momentum pass, a fast pass. I mean, because there's nobody faster out of a corner than Ken Roczen.
And that's what I always said that about Ricky Carmichael. And Jeff Ward was the same way, because they're small guys, and Kenny's not that small. But as you said, though, that able to pull the trigger, get the traction, and that's why he gets such good starts as well. So because it is basically a whole shot from corner to corner.
I mean, you watch him out of the corners, and there's that burst, and you can see it in Supercross too. He jumps stuff out of corners much easier than other guys, and you're seeing that here. You're seeing what we call a yo-yo session, right? So Chase gets on him. Then Ken turns, makes a great corner, gets that burst, and pulls away a couple bike lengths. So I expect Chase to probably, I think he can make this pass. He's got some different lines. We're going to see about that, but he's going to have to deal with momentum. There's a little mistake from Ken Roczen, so let's see how it plays out.
So he's going to have to look for a little mistake, because I think the track has kind of come in, and we heard Hunter Lawrence talk about it's kind of one line, hard to pass. You can see him moving around, trying to get to the outside, but if you can use the lapper as a pick, which he's trying to do right now, might help him out.
Yeah, is Roczen going to be able to negotiate this? He does. He gets around the lap rider, and Sexton not able to close in there.
One of the things you can see from the overhead shot here is these guys got a lot of water on this track, so there might not be as many lines available as there was in Moto 1, and it's because they got a lot of water on this track in the intermission time before these motos. So, which is going to make it a little harder for Sexton. He's going to have to really look for that mistake, or he's going to have to get so tight on him. And what you really, to get that pass, you want to get right on him so you can make the momentum pass inside, outside, whatever it is.
And Roczen not letting him get that close. We are down to the final 11 minutes and 2 laps of the race day. And Roczen is giving it his all to hold on for this moto win, which would also give him the overall. It's an all Honda day, but what will the order be? Oh, this is great stuff right here. That yo-yo battle you're talking about, Jeremy McGrath. Different sections of the track favoring different riders. Sexton has been able to close up around this section here. So Roczen enters with, we're going to say 5-6 bike length lead. Has Craig done it? Oh, not only has Craig gotten by Dungey, but Eli Tomac, this moto, seems to have it dialed in. He has gotten around Dungey as well, and I wouldn't count Tomac out of making a run for a third.
He's right there.
So was that a mechanical in the first race?
Well,
it very well could have been.
Or at least a change in bike setup. Certainly, you would hope that's the case and not the injury. You're not going to fix a knee injury in an hour's time. So Tomac is clearly much better here and apparently very healthy.
You don't ride like that with a knee injury.
yeah, exactly. So we can scratch that. Maybe it was just some setting changes with the motorcycle, but this is a much different Eli Tomac here in Moto 2.
Well, we've seen Tomac in the past. It's not a knock on him, but if he's not comfortable, he does not push it. And we've seen that. And kudos to him, because sometimes you try to ride too hard and make a mistake. Good for him. He's got a little bit of bike setup, looks like, and we are seeing a battle here.
Sexton is there. There's that little burst from Roczen you were talking about. Jeremy allows him to hold the lead, scrubbing together into this corner. Who's going to break later? Sexton into the #1 spot. Roczen tries to cross him on the inside. Oh, Kenny's not giving up on it. This is great stuff. How fast can Roczen get this outside line? Good drive, but not enough. Sexton has it.
That is so fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, all of a sudden I quit being an announcer. I become a fan. I just watch it. But watching Sexton, he took his time. That was a good 4-lap setup for that pass.
Unreal battle with the Honda teammates. Chase Sexton able to take the lead from his teammate Ken Roczen side by side for several corners, and then Sexton able to lock it down, and now it's full sprint to the finish as Sexton tries to get away, hanging it out, and Roczen trying to hang with him.
And then we see Sexton with a little bit of head shake. We've seen that a couple times when he's kind of over jumped into the corner, comes down and gets a little head shake, because these guys do run a steering damper. As we take a look back on that pass, and Sexton had been setting this up for laps, and then he makes the run right across the finish line into the inside, and that gives him the priority spot where really Kenny has to submit, takes a shot to the inside, but that again puts him on the outside. So really no place to go but to start watching. Now Kenny needs to sit back, analyze his lines, and make a comeback.
That was so cool to watch. I mean, when they both scrubbed the finish line jump, but Chase did one thing further. He scrubbed and over jumped, which gave him about a half a bike length, put him in the premier position.
Yeah, and that's what Sexton did in Moto 1 in a different section. The over jumping in the jumps, harsh landing, but he's able to shrug that off. And now a critical juncture for Roczen. Can he keep his teammate in sight and mount a late race charge?
Well, we have just over 7.5 minutes to go with 2 laps. So we still have a lot of racing to go with a lot of lappers. Here's you come in, you see Sexton revving the throttle, because that's the way you'd let the rider know. And also when you're racing behind him, you can scream, but better bet, just rev that thing up so they can hear you coming.
Well, that was a break that Roczen needed to try to get closer, but then he went wide in that corner, and Sexton able to stretch it back out. Gap is about 1 second between the teammates. It's going to be the motorsport.com whole shot replay. Good start for Dungey down to the inside. Sexton is there as well. And watch Jason Anderson in green. He just got tangled up. Was that Barsha who hit him in the back? And that put Anderson. We're wondering why they were so far back there. They both went down. Meanwhile, Sexton able to control it and get that motorsport.com whole shot. Then Roczen gets around him. And now 1 lap ago, Sexton able to retake the lead. And there's Roczen still lurking. Craig is 3rd, Tomac 4th, Dungey 5th, Crowley 6th, McElrath in 7th, Anderson from way back up to 8th, Garrett Marchbanks, his 450 motocross debut is 9th, and Barsha after the first turn crash up to 10th.
So Barsha and Anderson making a nice comeback.
Yep.
Down in turn 1, that's always brutal.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those days where the results won't show you how well Anderson was riding, as he was buried off the start of Moto 1 and down on the start of Moto 2. And he's in 8th place right now. Roczen is definitely not giving up on it. Here is Anderson. Yeah, he's going to leave today knowing he was a lot faster than it looks in the results. He almost came up for a podium in Moto 1 despite the bad start, finishing a close 4th behind Craig. And let's see how far up the order he can go with 5 minutes and 2 laps to go here in Moto 2 after a crash.
For a rider like Jason Anderson, whose hopes were to walk away with his championship, the pain that a rider has to go through emotionally when you're down on the ground, you're like, I'm down on the ground again, and these guys are out in front of me. You think your world is ending, but you have to understand a lot can happen over a series. You know, even though like in the lights class we saw Justin Cooper not finish out of the top 3 and still lose the championship by 6 points. But for Jason Anderson, this is a long 30 minutes plus 2 laps when you're out there riding around thinking my world is over.
Well, one of the things that you, as a rider in a championship series, if you're going to have some struggles, you'd rather have them in the beginning of the series, right? We know he's riding well. First moto was awesome. He almost got a podium. And here he's making a nice comeback. So, you know, it's tough. Those things are kind of hard to deal with. And who wants to crash in turn 1 on Moto 2? Yeah. You're going to be this is going to be a long, tiring race. And, you know, he's doing a good job here. So maybe he'll get another spot by the end, maybe not. But whatever. He's got to come out of this race confident knowing he's got the speed.
Well, and then as you go over jumps, the riders look around as we're watching Chase Sexton out in front. You can see that he's got a 1 second lead. So Kenny Roczen is right there. He is not out of the hunt. No. There he is. There's the 2 Honda riders. If they can do this, this is an unbelievable weekend for Honda right now. Obviously with the lights or the 250, they went 1-2 with the Lawrence brothers, and now right now they look like they are in position. But I don't want to jinx anybody for 1-2 in the 450.
But what will the order be? Roczen is not letting Sexton have it. It was 1 second when they went across the finish line. I think you could argue it got a little closer than that after the finish. It is not over. 4 minutes and 2 laps to go. Who's going to win the season opener for Lucas Oil Pro Motocross? Don't go anywhere. We'll have the finish here on MAV TV. Oh, that is full send. You heard them wind those bikes up, full clutch, full gas. Both Honda riders in and out of that corner. And Roczen, it's always sneaky fast on such a low RPM on that bike. A lot of times people will say they don't even hear him behind them because he doesn't rev the engine like most riders do, but he makes it work, and I think he's getting quicker here. He's closing the gap.
We talked about this earlier, and you have to make a push. We're 3 minutes, 10 seconds to go before the 2-lap board comes out. And if you're going to do something, now is the time.
Absolutely. You can't. Well, and he's not sitting back. He's giving it all he's got. But we've watched this. One side of the track, Kenny Roczen is faster. The other side of the track, you know, it goes back and forth. And they're both running 219s, 219.64 and 219.67. I mean, that's not even a hiccup. It is such a close distance. But right now, Roczen has to make that move, or it's going to be a 6-point day for Chase Sexton.
Craig continuing to hold off his teammate Tomac, who is in 4th. Dungey 5th. Crowley is 6th. McElrath, Anderson. Barsha's now up to 9th. Just gotten around Marchbanks. Aaron Plessinger, a bit of a struggle today. He is in the number 11 spot. It's Freddie Noren, Josh Gilbert, Alex Martin, and Benny Bloss rounding out the top 15. It's going to be a battle of wills down the stretch here. And also, does Roczen have a spot picked out? Because he's not going to have many opportunities or many laps to make that pass.
Well, what you can see is from the background, you can see him using different lines. So if he's going to have something, he's shaping up for that.
Right. That's what I like about this. He's tried other lines.
He's ready. This battle for the win is going to go down to the wire, and it's between teammates. Chase Sexton won the first Moto over Ken Roczen. He got the lead here in Moto 2. Roczen is not giving up on it. You can see the distance between them. Just a little over a second, but it really depends on what part of the racetrack you're watching. Roczen has his strength, Sexton has his.
Yeah, and it's almost split right down the middle. This is the section where I like Roczen jumps to the outside, tries to get a run. Chase getting a little bit stuck in traffic, right, and here he comes. So using the momentum, Jeremy, you were talking about that, and looking for other lines.
I think Kenny used the lapper right there. So Chase didn't jump down the downhill because there was a lapper there. He chose to go to the inside, but obviously it's a half second or so quicker because look how close Ken is now.
And Ken Roczen on the outside, long way around. We've actually seen some passes made with that line earlier. Now watch the countdown clock, 55 seconds. Will Sexton get there before or after the clock expires? It's going to be either 2 or 3 laps to go in the Moto, and listen to these fans. They are loving this action. Good hustle by Sexton through that area to get away from Roczen. And by the way, the last lap was Roczen's fastest lap of the Moto, so he is getting stronger. He's definitely proving that his health and his fitness, at least today, is on point. But is it going to be enough?
But we've seen in the past how certain manufacturers will dominate in that. Now, is this the beginning of Honda's reign again? You know, I was fortunate enough to be part of the reign, you know, in my section in the 80s, the Jeremy's in the 90s. But right now, we are looking at a very red 2 motos with the Lawrence brothers 1 and 2, and right now with Sexton and Roczen 1 and 2.
Well, it's unbelievable. Yes, he could not have had this day go better. The only question left is which of the riders wins. They are far ahead of the rest of the field. Of course, it's only round 1, and Honda has had their issues locking down titles the last couple of years, so they know not to get too excited from the first race of the year, but it's just incredible how well it's gone as they bring out 50th anniversary looks to the motorcycles. We made a joke between the break. Wow, you like that corner from Sexton?
He pushed that hard, man. That's one of those that if 1 pound harder of a push, and he would have blown the berm completely out. But watching him, if you're a student and you do ride, watch Sexton. Watch how he stands up and he sits right at the right time, using his legs and his angles to help to study his strengths. Watch, he stays standing up, then sits down, then uses the jump to put him back up on his feet. And in the angles, he's very, very efficient. I think he, Jeremy, is the most technical guy on the track today.
You know what? He's so fun to watch. It just looks so effortless. And what you see is you don't see a bunch of feedback to the bars. He's letting the bike do what it wants, and he's just kind of riding it and letting it go. He's trying to make big, long arcs to make speed without trying to cut down out of the berms too early. If you do that, you kill speed. And, man, he's excellent at that.
They're going so fast, our drone couldn't keep up. We switch back to third with Christian Craig, still dealing with pressure from Eli Tomac. So this is a sigh of relief. Much better for Tomac in Moto than Moto 1. I think we were a little concerned that the knee injury coming in might be a problem. That might not be an issue now with how much stronger Eli is here in Moto 2. But Christian Craig doesn't care about the Dungey story, the Crowley story, or the Tomac story. He's trying to show the world that he could be a player on a 450, and he has been strong today.
And as you said early on, he's already signed a contract with Husqvarna for next year to be full-time 450, so he's already making a plan. So now he's trying to let these guys know, I'm a contender. Look out for me this year as well as next year.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not a part-time thing or just a learning experience. He wants to show that he's a player, and he's doing it right now by holding off Eli Tomac, a 3-time 450 national champ. Good to see Tomac, though, picking it up compared to where he was in Moto 1.
But it could be a little bit of his knee because we don't see Tomac quite as aggressive coming into the corners and stuff like that. So we don't know. This is 100% speculation, and so we're probably going to get, torn up. But as we're watching the two, we see Eli up on the top, and then we got the leaders down in the bottom. We got Sexton and Roczen going back and forth, but we don't know.
to Thor battle box, and there's a little bit less of a battle for the #1 spot as Sexton has started to distance himself from Roczen. Roczen put in that burner of a 2:18 lap 2 laps ago, but now running a 2:20. So the closest battle on the track has become this one for third between Craig and Tomac.
Well, and for Jeremy, I would like you to chime on this too. When your teammate catches you and passes you and slowly walks away from you, it kind of rips your heart out of you in some cases. Unless you have a problem, then you can justify that. But Sexton has done a phenomenal job of just doing the right thing at the right time.
Well, I can tell you this, in these two guys' circumstance right here, it's been the reverse situation for a while, right?
Yep.
Roczen's been the #1 guy.
Yep.
Sexton's been learning from him, and we're seeing a little different story today. Obviously, that's what you don't want to have happen with your teammate, right? Try not to let those things happen. You want to be the front runner all the time. But no denying Chase Sexton, at least up to this point. Ken Roczen, I think he's definitely opening some eyes. People didn't know what to expect. He had a long break. He looks good. Got some great starts. And today was a domination by the Honda team.
Chase Sexton, a lot of people feel that it's always been just a matter of time. It's not if, it's when he puts all the puzzle pieces together on the 450. Looking at what would be his third career victory. He got his first one on this track at the end of the 2020 season. He won the Washougal National last year, but this is a much more complete package from Sexton. The speed, the riding style, the talent has been there since the moment he got on this bike. But today was the perfect performance all around.
You know, we've been talking a lot about his technique and everything, but his fitness, he has continued as the track gets worse and worse and worse as we see the white flag come out. He's continuing. His best lap was a 2:17.7. That lap was a 2:19.9. So he's continually keeping that pace up and keeping that intensity and finding new lines and stuff like that. So we can't say enough good things about Chase Sexton.
And he has withstood the flurry from Roczen as we're on to the final lap. Chase Sexton trying to start the year with a 1-1 sweep. And how sweet it would be for him. There was so much talk coming into this race about first Dylan Ferrandis, who ended up not being able to race with an injury. Eli Tomac, his great accolades. Jason Anderson, momentum from Supercross. Crowley and Dungey joining the series. Maybe a little less talk than there should have been about Sexton, but he is going to be the talk for the next week before we go to Hangtown McKeesley. He is looking at a 1-1.
I don't think anyone's surprised by this, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, it's when, not if. With Sexton, you knew it was going to hit at some point. This is a stock you wanted to buy a couple years ago.
Yeah, he's a talented kid for sure. He makes it look good. And when it all works right, it's working really right.
Well, and I sat down and talked with him for probably about 20 minutes at the Honda function, the 50-year function last night. And him and Jet Lawrence, they remind me a lot. I haven't had a chance to talk much with Hunter, but they're very smart kids, and what they talk about tires and traction and balance and all of these things. They're, with them being as young as they are, they're way ahead of the game. So we're going to see these guys at Honda. As I said, this could be another rain right now.
Just 22 years old is Chase Sexton. Moved up to the 450 class a little early. Doesn't have a lot of 250 motocross wins. He's a two-time 250 Supercross champ. But it was a bit of a risk for Honda to move him up a little early. But clearly they knew that his style and his size would lend itself to the 450, and boy has it ever. He's always been fast on this bike. But today, he has been more than fast. He has been efficient. He's been perfect, really, even taking some pressure from Roczen. Didn't put a wheel wrong. We saw some aggression, jumping a little extra far and just gritting his teeth and holding on.
Well, Jeremy pointed that out, that even though they're both impeccable in their style, that he's pushing the envelope, jumping a little further when he needs to, and sending it.
Oh, he is happy. What a way to start the season. A 1-1 sweep in round one for Chase Sexton. And Roczen charges to the end, gets the gap down there at the end, ends up being about 4 seconds, and Honda has done it. They've gone 1-2 in all 4 motos over both classes today, and some serious heart here from Christian Craig. Eli Tomac was putting the screws to him down the stretch. Craig able to fend him off.
What a ride.
Absolutely. Back-to-back podiums, 3-3, and Craig is happy about that. Great ride by the Southern California native. Christian Craig on the box in both races, and obviously overall as well. There's Lars Lindstrom, the team manager, first-year team manager job for him. There's Bill Savino from Honda. It couldn't have been scripted better. You celebrate 50 years of racing, you put the retro livery on the bikes, and you go 1-2 in every race. More stories here. He didn't win, but it was a heck of a performance. Listen to the crowd. Saluting a return to racing. He has not been in a motocross race for 6 years, and Ryan Dungey is top 5 today at Fox Raceway. What a great way to start this season with so many feel-good stories. None of them better than this. But hey, they say when you win races, you're supposed to act like you've been there before. You're not even seeing a smile. It's all business for Chase Sexton.
The 50th anniversary season of Pro Motocross is brought to you by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source. Honda, celebrating 50 years of off-road dominance. And by Lucas Oil, keep that engine alive.
We are back, opening round of the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championship. It was all Honda all the time, a 1-2 sweep in both classes, and led in the 450 class by Chase Sexton. Let's send it down to the podium.
Chase Sexton, perfect day. If you were looking for a way to start this championship, I think you found it.
Man, it was a dream day for me. I looked all Supercross season. I wanted to do fast qualifying, win the heat race, and win the main. Never did it. I think outdoors is even harder to go 1-1. 2 starts, 2 full motos. It's tough. So I felt perfect out there today. Kenny and I were on, I feel like, another level, and it was awesome. The Honda team has put a lot of hard work in this offseason and this whole year, so to get us comfortable, and I feel like we're at a good point right now. So I just want to give it up to them, the fans here in Southern California. Paul has treated me well a lot, and I'm just really stoked, man. This was a big day for me, first 1-1 for me, and just really excited to get this championship going.
Third career 450 overall win for Sexton, but this one was bigger because, as he said, it's his first 1-1 sweep, and he was fast in qualifying. Does not get any better than that.
But I really like the way he looked. Very calm, very composed, not out of breath, didn't look haggard. Unbelievable job.
Absolutely. Okay, so congratulations all around from the Honda team to him. Here's the Lucas Oil race recap to show you how he got it done. Sexton, not always a great starter, but he was in this moto. Getting out front early, had Dungey and Roczen right there with him.
Ryan Dungey, unbelievable. Coming back after being gone, we see Jason Anderson on the ground, but Dungey keeping it in the mix. But Sexton with the early lead.
And then Ken Roczen sends it, gets around Dungey, and then goes for the lead. Roczen always so good in the opening laps of the races, and this is no exception. Takes the spot away. But Sexton would sit there, wait, and study, and Jeremy, the battle was not over.
Well, the track was wet. They were trying to find the lines. You can see Sexton here. They both scrub, which was awesome to watch. He overjumps a little bit, grabs a half a bike length on Ken, makes the pass. Then he's on the inside. He's on the inside for this corner also, and gets the pass done.
And ironically, they're passing the exact same place. That was cool.
Roczen kept it close till about 3 laps to go, and Sexton was able to stretch it. And there's the celebration with the checkered flag in sight. Sexton fires first in 2022. And there is Roczen to complete the Honda sweep here as they celebrate their 50th anniversary in the best possible way. Craig, what a performance by him. Third in both motos, putting it on the podium overall, and an excellent bounce back from Eli Tomac, who struggled in the second half of the first moto. Whatever was wrong there, they got it fixed. Solid fourth in Moto 2. Outside the top 10, Garrett Marchbanks ends up 12th, just behind Freddie Noren. Just out of the points is Bryson Gardner. And here's the full 40-rider field. And our race day is complete. Send it back down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Ken Roczen, you complete the Honda sweep today. I know you wanted to get the win. Still crazy impressive. The crowd was going crazy. Great way to start the series, though.
First off, did you guys like the show we put on or what? Woo! Yeah, I fought hard. That was my game plan. You know, I passed him in the beginning. I had some really good lines, some really good speed, and I hung in there the whole way. You know, he's really strong right now and really fast. So the most important thing for me was to not give up, and that's what I did. This track was really difficult, really tricky and sketchy. So I'm glad we came out with on the podium and save especially, and on top of that with Hunter and Jet going 1-2. You know, the factory Honda HRC Racing has done such a good job, and I'm so pumped to get all the retro bikes on the podium with 1 and 2. I thank those guys a lot, along with everybody in my corner. My trainer Blake, that is also my brother-in-law, and my dad for coming over to Florida and training with me. So I'm on a good roll right now. I just want to build momentum from here on out and just get better each weekend.
Awesome to see a star like Ken Roczen back in the sport and back on the podium. It was a rough run in Supercross. We weren't sure what was in store for him, but he is back and back to his old ways, contending for wins here in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. Those retro bikes, Honda kept them covered all day. They actually asked if they could do tech inspection at their truck because they didn't want people to see the retro until the celebration last night. And now they get to celebrate it in the best possible way with the bikes on the podium. And Christian Craig will join them there. Let's send it down to JT.
Christian Craig, home race. Fans losing their minds out here. Has to feel good to go 3-3 today.
Man, I've gotten robbed so many times of overalls, so to get that one, that was awesome. And then battling with my teammate Eli the entire moto, I'm so proud. Just to have this moment. Thank you for everyone cheering me on. I heard it all the way around the track. And do it at my first overall podium at my home track is something special. And thank you to the whole Monster Energy Star Racing Yamaha, my trainer Swanee, just everyone that supports me. Thank you.
Big step for Christian Craig. Knocking on that podium door. Bust it down today. Honda upcoming schedule. We're going to Hangtown in Northern California next Saturday. And then Thunder Valley in Colorado 2 weeks from now. All the action on MAV TV. We'll have our second Thunder Valley 450 Moto, though, on NBC. That's High Point, Redbud, and Southwick. That'll take us through mid-July. Back down to the podium with Jason Thomas.
Ryan Dungey, I don't even know what to say. An unlikely comeback. If you'd have told me 6 years ago you're going to take a break and come back in 2022, I would have laughed at you. You're the one laughing today. That was an incredible performance.
No, it was definitely a surprise to myself. I almost thought I was kind of crazy for coming back too, but I had those thoughts. But, you know, I wanted the challenge. I'm excited to be here. The team did an awesome job today. The bike, this track was nasty. Was a little bit off the pace, of course, but that's okay. You know, we got to start somewhere, and then we'll build from here. But, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm super excited and just super thankful it worked out, and excited for more.
And so are we. Awesome to see Ryan Dungey back, and awesome to get to work with you, Rick Johnson, and also Jeremy. Go ahead, Rick.
No, I mean, I'm in awe with Ryan Dungey, how composed and how well he looks. I am so proud to be part of the Honda legacy, and now just to see this new generation between Kenny Roczen and Chase Sexton and the Lawrence brothers. And I had a blast. I'm here with my Supercross hero, Jeremy McGrath, and with you, I was just hung out in left field waiting for some fly balls.
It was a good time today, Jeremy.
You know what? I enjoyed the company, guys. Always fun to hang with both of you. Such great racing today. What a show from the Honda boys. And, man, I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, we're in for a great season. Big thanks to Jason Thomas there handling the podium interviews. We'll have Brock Glover in the booth with myself next weekend from Hangtown. What a great way to start the 50th anniversary of Lucas Oil Pro Motocross. For everyone here, I'm Jason Wygant. Thanks for watching, and congratulations to Chase Sexton.